Hey y'all, welcome back to Leslie's Mature Makeup and Beauty. Today we've got a full face of Covergirl. Some of them are newer releases to Covergirl, but none of these things I have tried before, I don't think. So per usual, we'll get started with our eyes. And I just grabbed this Covergirl True Naked Roses palette, and of course it comes with one of those little sponge tip applicators, which I tried one of the quads. Oh, it's been a while ago when I did my makeup like I used to in high school and used some of the same products. So we'll see if this formula is the same. And I think I'm gonna go in with this shade here, this purpley looking shade. They've got names. Maybe this is Dusk. No. I don't know. We're going in with this one though. And I'm just using this ColourPop E17 brush. And I'm gonna put this in my crease. I know the little quad that I used before, that one actually applied better with the little sponge tip applicator than brushes. But this looks like it's going on pretty good with a brush. You know, Covergirl doesn't seem to have a lot in the eyeshadow department. Which I think I've said this before, I've noticed that with a lot of the kind of what I'll call like the old school kind of mainstream drugstore brands, you know, Revlon, L'Oreal, Covergirl, they don't really have a lot in the eyeshadow department. They seem to have a ton, you know, like foundations and mascaras. You know, Covergirl has a bazillion mascaras, I think. So far, that's went on nicely. And I do have on, per usual, my eye primer. I'm getting a little bit of a late start, but we're going to be going to Bible study this afternoon, so I'll be out and about and up later than I normally am. So we'll definitely check in later, see how the foundation and stuff is holding on. Hopefully everything goes pretty good since I'm going somewhere. But and then one of the things I noticed about this, it seems like there's more, like even some of these deeper shades over here, like these two are both kind of shimmery looking. But I'm going to go in with this darker gray here on the outer corner. And I'm just using this E18 from ColourPop, and I am, you know, always tapping off my brushes. I just do it on my wrist, so I'm not making a racket, and it can damage the handles of your brushes if you're beating them up against stuff all the time. And I'm kind of dragging what's left on that brush like directly in my crease. That almost looks a little on the, maybe on the satiny side. So I hope everybody's week is going well. I'm definitely feeling much better. And I kind of feel like what happened maybe was I was on such a high after RFK that like everything else, just my regular everyday life, just didn't seem exciting or important. I'm just cleaning this brush off on my Sigma switch, and then I'm gonna try one of these shimmers on this brush. I think I'm gonna go into I think we'll do this one. That's this one right here. It's kind of champagne-y looking. And let me not get that deep shade on here. But so far I've been enjoying these brushes from ColourPop. This is kind of a pinky looking shimmer, but it's more, you know, it's more on that satiny side. I think that looks pretty good. Which of course I think if I applied a little bit with my finger, it would probably zhuzh it up. Just gonna take a clean fluffy brush and just go over those edges. Just making sure everything is blended well. You know, we don't want any harsh lines. And then I think I'm going to take this kind of a matte white shade on this same fluffy brush. I'm just cleaning it off on my Sigma switch. And do a little of that right at the outer edge here of the brow bone. And again, I think that's a little bit satiny. So far, so good. And then for foundation, you know, I like their Outlast Extreme Wear, which the Revlon Color Stay may edge this guy out for the top spot on my skin, but the one from Revlon is just a little bit more perfecting, I think. But I grabbed this Covergirl and Olay Simply Ageless. It's got hyaluronic complex and vitamin C. It says it's a 3-in-1 foundation. It says that it instantly reduces the appearance of wrinkles, improves tone, delivers firming moisture. So I grabbed the shade medium beige, and I wasn't sure if when I pumped it out, you know, it's kind of, I guess that's like the little hydrating stuff in there. So hopefully the shade's okay. You know, it's really hard to, because I just grabbed everything at Walmart. You know, it's kind of hard to see. Those lights in there are not the best for picking shades. So we'll see how it goes. And it does have a little pump. It's just a plastic bottle. And you'll notice I've got a little spot here. The granddaughter scratched me, so I don't expect anything to look great there. And for SPF today, I just used my Ulta Tinted SPF. There's a little bit of fragrance to it, but it's not, like, it doesn't smell like paint or anything. It's just it's not a bad smell. Does it say what kind of coverage this is supposed to give? And that doesn't really make any coverage claims or any of that stuff. But it looks like a, you know, a nice medium, you know, with my sponge. So let me zoom y'all in a little bit here. And you can see, you know, we got foundation on this side versus nothing over here. So far it looks good. And we'll go ahead and tap in some over on the other side. Oh, and talking about Covergirl foundations, this is the one that I tried when I did that video, you know, doing my makeup like I did in high school, and this was terrible. This clean liquid foundation smells like Noxzema, which is whatever, but it was not pretty. I'm going to try to take just a little bit kind of on the corner of my sponge and see if we can. And then I cut myself under my nose shaving my face today. Well, that's got us all blended in. It looks pretty good. And of course, we'll do our usual, you know, look in natural light kind of deal. It's a little bit tacky, but the side that I put on first doesn't really feel, you know, it's kind of setting down, so. And then for concealer, I grabbed their new Simply Ageless Triple Action Concealer. It's the one that's got the little ceramic wand. Now, when I first saw that they were releasing this, at Ulta Beauty, they sell this thing for like $17. But I grabbed it at Walmart, and it was like $13. And then I had several coupons and Ibotta rebates, so I didn't even pay that much. But it's got this little ceramic wand that's supposed to be cooling, but it doesn't look like it really grabs any product. Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see, but it's just barely on the tip. There's a little bit. I guess that'll keep you from overdoing it. But you do have to dip in every time to get. And then once it's in here, do you really want to massage that all under your eye? I don't know. So I'm going to take this big flat brush from the ColourPop collection, and my concealer brush that I normally use is filthy dirty. And we'll kind of spread everything out a little bit. And I'll probably press it in the rest of the way with my fingers or a sponge. And it says that it provides medium to full coverage with a radiant finish. I may dab just a little bit more, like in this inner corner here, where I have the most darkness. Alright, so we'll let that sit. It doesn't look too bad, but I don't know that I would say you could get full coverage out of that. Alright, so and the foundation feels pretty well set down. I grabbed one of their Trublend So Flushed High Pigment Bronzers, and this is the shade Sunset Glitz, which was the only one that my store carried. And it looks like it's a more radiant looking bronzer. It definitely looks like it's got a little bit of a glow to it, which I don't mind a little bit of a glowy bronzer. Like the one from Flower Beauty is a little bit glowy and it's beautiful. I just don't know about this shade. And they may have more shades available, and that was, you know, potentially just all that was available at my local store. But I'm just going to take that fluffy color brush, and I did clean it off on my Sigma switch, and nothing is coming off on my hand there except for where I had already swatched this. Let's give her a go. And when I apply my bronzer, I like to start kind of up towards like the top of my ear. And just do a little, you know, kind of where the sun would hit the tops of those cheeks. It's definitely got some pigment to it. And you can definitely see the sheen there. A little on the nose and the chin, and then we'll run a little on the old goozle under the jaw. I feel like that may have a little bit more sheen than like the Flower Beauty one. But I definitely like the undertone, I think, of the Flower Beauty one a little better than this one. This one's a little on the warmer side. So let's keep trucking. I grabbed one of their, now this I didn't get at Walmart. I grabbed this from Ulta. This is one of their new Clean Fresh All Over Dewy tints. It's supposed to be for eyes, lips, and cheeks. I'm just going to use it for blush. And I got the shade Fuchsia Passion. I'll put a little bit on the back of my hand here and kind of, so that looks very, that's it, kind of spread out. It looks really emollient. A little bit. I'm just going to start with a tiny bit on my ring fingers, kind of mush those together and tap it in. I think I may do just a little tiny bit more. Kind of higher up. I'm going to take a clean side of my sponge and just kind of press over that. It kind of looks like it may be lifting up my foundation. Let me take a closer look here. Yeah, it definitely looks like it lifted my foundation a little bit. So not loving that, just based on a first impression there. And it's not a huge amount of color. It's a very light wash of color. So I had also grabbed one of their Trublend blushes. So let's pop a little bit of that on too. This is the shade So Flushed. And it looks a little, ooh. Looks like it may have a little bit of a sheen to it too. I'm just gonna barely tap in. Okay, so that was a bad idea. It's definitely grabbing onto that cream blush. Okay, let's get our handy dandy sponge. We'll see if we can kind of tap over this and tone that down a little bit. Now, I'm not sure about that cream blush. So let's go ahead and throw on some mascara. Oh, I just colored my brows. I don't think I'm going to fill them in. Let's see. Alright, so I did grab one of their brow pencils. I grabbed, it's the shade Soft Brown. And it's their Easy Breezy Brow Micro Fine and Define Pencil. It's got a little tiny retractable deal. Hopefully this shade will be okay. Looks a little bit dark for a soft brown. That's it right there. It almost looks a little more on the darker brown side. Texture seems pretty good though. I'm just kind of doing little light strokes. Just to kind of help define a little bit. And it does have a little spoolie. So once I've done that, I'm just gonna just brush over them, kind of soften up those lines. I don't want any harsh lines. The shape looks okay, I think. And let's do, I'm just going to throw on a little bit. I did not get a brow gel from Covergirl, because I feel like I tried it in the past and I didn't love it. But I've got this one from the brow styling wax. This one is from Imethod. Now they have sent me a couple of things in the past, but this is something that I purchased on my own. It's just a clear, kind of like the e.l.f. brow lift, but I feel like this one gives me a little bit more hold. I think I must have left my sunscreen piled up in my brows because they're looking a little bit like there's something in them. Alright. And this one does feel like it dries down a little bit more than the Covergirl. And then for mascara, I grabbed their Exhibitionist Uncensored. And this claims to have up to 24-hour wear, big bold volume, no flaking, no smudging. And it's got just the boar bristle kind of brush. Hopefully it doesn't flake or smudge, since like I said, I do have somewhere to go later. Alright, so that's one coat. Does feel like kind of a wetter formula. Does seem to give a good bit of volume. Alright, so we got 2 coats here versus 1 coat here. This brush is not the most separating brush, but that's a couple of coats on each eye. Just a tiny bit on the lower lashes. And I do have a little fleck under this eye. I'll fix that, but I am just going to be in the house today doing housework. Not my favorite thing. I did have to scrub a little bit to get that brow pencil off. And then for lips, I grabbed one of their Exhibitionist lip liners and then one of their Exhibitionist 24-hour matte lipsticks. And when I was looking at my stash over here, I only had one other Covergirl lipstick. I have several from like Maybelline and Revlon, but Covergirl, I just had the one. And this is the shade Garnet Red. And it is one of those kind of, it's retractable, but it's got that kind of slanty tip. And then the shade in the lipstick, that's what that bullet looks like. It's got like a soft velvety matte packaging. This is the shade Provocateur. But that's what those two look like side by side, so hopefully they'll kind of go together. Goes on creamy though. And then I'm just gonna kind of, you know, you can see I didn't completely fill the lips in. I'm just gonna fill the rest in or go over the rest with this lipstick. It's a little purpley. Alright, so that has got everything on. And it's kind of cloudy at the moment. Concealer looks like maybe it's creasing just a little. Like I say, that blush definitely, the cream blush definitely removes some of the foundation. So we'll see how everything wears. We'll go outside right quick, okay? Alright, so we're out here in some natural light, and hopefully this bird does not attack me. She's nesting in one of my potted plants out here, and she is making a ruckus. But anyway, I'm going to step out here. It's a little bit overcast. The sun's kind of in and out. But so far, I like how everything looks other than that cream blush. It did not do well. The sun is kind of behind some clouds. But so far, I like the way the foundation looks. It's about 11 o'clock. So I will check in with y'all in a few hours. Let me see if I can show y'all these birds. Here they are. She only had 2 eggs, but they both have hatched. And I have, when they were still just eggs, I did water around them, but I guess I better not water anymore so I don't hurt them, but yeah. All right. So even though I've got on a different shirt, it is still the same day. It's been about 9.5 hours. I did do a lot of housework today, so we've got a good bit of hardwood. So, you know, I did toilets and tubs and vacuumed and mopped all that hardwood. So I did get a little bit sweaty, you know, not as much as I would if I had been outside, but, you know, just full disclosure. So the eyeshadow actually still looks really good. So I'm pleasantly surprised. You know, the Revlon palette that I used recently, it faded pretty bad. Now, I did reapply the lip as well, but the blush is still, I think where I put that powder blush on is still hanging on a little bit, but, you know, I'm going to try this cheeky tint again, but it did, you know, like I said, it lifted up that foundation. As far as the foundation goes, I'm pretty shiny, but I have not done any powder or anything, and I am pretty worn off in this general area here. It has settled just a little bit into my forehead wrinkles. Mascara has held on well. The lip, it was pretty comfortable for a matte lip. It did wear off just a little bit funny, but my lips, I think, were a little bit dry, so it was kind of cleaning up some of those dry patches. The bronzer, I think, may have faded just a touch. But I'm definitely going to give this foundation another go. You know, it doesn't look heavy or cakey anywhere. But I can't say it's my favorite. And the lip, you know, I had like buttered white rice for lunch. And then we had, which I did reapply, and then we went and we had taco salad. So, you know, I've had some greasy stuff to eat today. But overall, I pretty much think I kind of like everything. I don't know about this guy. And then I do want to try this foundation again. Maybe use a primer and kind of see how it holds on. If it'll give me a little bit more staying power. But, you know, it looked good. It didn't look heavy or cakey or any of that stuff. And it's just settling the tiniest bit in my forehead lines. And y'all know when I talk, I have kind of an expressive face. So I'm always, you know, wrinkling and crinkling and doing those types of things. The brow pencil, I think, is still kind of hanging in there. You know, I didn't fill in a ton, but I'm actually pretty impressed by this eyeshadow palette, this True Naked Roses. It applied well, and it has hung in there. And then this blush, you know, I definitely want to try it again, not on top of this cheeky tint, but, oh, concealer. I knew I was forgetting something. That's why I just kept yammering. This concealer, it looks just a little bit, get y'all zoomed in there, maybe just a little bit dry in this area, but it's still, I mean, you know, it's a little bit creasy. So I definitely want to try this, you know, another time. I'm not sure about this applicator. I don't love the applicator on it. You know, you just get such a tiny amount of product. But so I think the complexion products I definitely need to give another go, as well as this cheeky tint. But I like this. This was a comfortable matte formula, this Exhibitionist 24-hour matte. Now, it definitely doesn't last 24 hours. I guess maybe if you don't eat or drink or do anything. But the lip liner held on pretty good. Not the longest lasting lip liner, I don't think. You know, the ones from Revlon definitely last a little bit longer than this one. But I like the shade, and it did a pretty good job. And it's does have kind of a matte finish. So, brow pencil, I think, done pretty good. Yeah, so that's kind of my final thoughts. I certainly appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all have a fabulous rest of the week or weekend, whenever it happens to be when I get this up. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.